Well, greetings everyone. Thank you for joining us here at 12:30 Eastern Time. New Hope Radio, Dave Therian at your service today, getting close to the end of a series entitled The Fall and Rise of Joseph. Thank you for checking in if you're on 1590 on the AM dial, WARV, 92.7 FM dial, newhopecc.tv, click Facebook or YouTube. Got some folks already checking in. Aaron is here to meet you and to greet you, our Facebook host. Check in with him, say hi. Joan is here. Karen is here. So we're glad to be with you today. Glad to be with you today. It's so important, I think. The 12 o'clock spot, 12:30 spot, just kind of really resetting our sights. You gotta recalibrate sometimes. And when we set time aside for the Word of God, we are recalibrating our soul. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in as often as you do. Going to start off with a quick break. My good friend Steve is here, and he's going to make a shameless plug for radio support because we need your support to stay on the air. So listen carefully, and let's work together to keep New Hope Radio on the air.
New Hope Radio has been on these airwaves since 1991. Over that time, we have heard many reports of people finding Christ and finding hope through our messages. We consider it an honor to serve our Lord this way. We would like to share this honor with you. If New Hope Radio helps you in any way, would you consider helping us with our radio expenses? A little bit, given consistently, goes a long way. You can send your donation to New Hope Christian Church, 1436 GAR Highway, Swansea, Massachusetts, 02777. You can go to our website at newhopecc.tv and click on the Give Now. Or you can text in a donation at 508-619-9194. Thank you so much for your support, and we are happy to share the honor with you of proclaiming God's grace over the airwaves. And God bless you.
Okay, thank you for that, Steve. We appreciate that. And, we got to pull together, stay here on the air every day. So we thank you for your support ahead of time. Right, Dottie? Dottie's checking in. Glad to have her. Okay, we've been studying the life of Joseph, and we've been learning that God wanted to promote him to a very high position in life. But you know what? Joseph wasn't ready. No. He first had to be brought low. He had to be humbled. And I believe that rings true with us as well. That maybe God has big plans for so many of us, but we have to be ready. We have to maintain the capacity to handle some type of life promotion, or else we're going to mess the whole thing up. So humility is always a priority before God promotes us. Okay? So here's what happened to Joseph. Sold to a traveling caravan by his jealous brothers. He arrives at the house of an Egyptian soldier named Potiphar. His wife, we saw this last time, she has eyes for Joseph, tries to seduce him, but he refuses. She lied, and she said that Joseph attacked her. We now find Joseph back in bondage. This time, he's in an Egyptian jail. Disappointed? Perhaps. But he learns how to overcome disappointment. That's what we're going to talk about today. How to overcome disappointment. If you've ever been disappointed, type amen. I've been disappointed. We've all been disappointed. But there's a way that we can handle disappointment. We can be victorious over disappointment. Being found in jail after doing his best to serve Potiphar, that could have been the turning point in Joseph's life. There are many potential turning points in life, and many of those are found at the place of disappointment. Sometimes people use the disappointments in their lives as excuses to slip back to bad practices, to old ways. And I'm going to tell you something. That's all they are, is excuses. That's all they are. Joseph, he could have slipped back into despair, self-pity, but he didn't, because he had a habit of blooming where he was planted. That's the key. Bloom where you are planted. As he rose to a position of leadership in Potiphar's house, so now he rose to a position of leadership in the jail. I'm like, are you kidding me? Wherever Joseph goes, it seems like he's rising to higher levels. You know why? Because he's with God and God's with him. In Genesis chapter 39, verse 20, we pick it up. So Joseph's master took him and put him into the jail, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the jail. Right, Mark? You haven't been to jail, have you? I hope not. But if you have, maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer. And the chief jailer committed to Joseph's charge, I'm like, really? All the prisoners who were in the jail. So that whatever was done there, Joseph was responsible for it. Joseph rose to be the big cheese in Potiphar's house. Now he rises to be the big cheese in the prison. And the chief jailer, verse 23, did not supervise anything under Joseph's charge because the Lord was with him. And whatever he did, I like this part, the Lord made to prosper. How'd you like to be in that situation? That whatever you do, that God causes it to prosper. You know, maybe you can. What do you have to do? What do I have to do? Oh man, we got to stick with the Lord. You got to stick with the Lord through thick and thin, through good and bad. That's what Joseph did, and God prospered him. See, when you're in a place you know you don't deserve, you realize you're not there by accident. Joseph was doing things right. He was serving Potiphar properly, but he ended up in jail. Why? Because God had his hand on his life. When God has his hand on our life, sometimes we spend time in places we'd rather not be. But remember, for Joseph, God was grooming him. Joseph had to be groomed. He had to be prepared for the phenomenal promotion that he was going to receive. So Joseph now, even though he's in jail, he's still on God's timeline for promotion. So therefore, he could stay faithful and he could continue to serve faithfully and to bloom. Now, he's in jail for a while. Pretty soon the king's cupbearer and the baker, they offended the king. And they wound up in prison with Joseph. We don't know what they did, but they ended up with Joseph in jail. One night they both had dreams, and Joseph noticed that they were sad. He said, "Why are you guys so sad?" You know why Joseph asked them why they were sad? This is so good. Because he refused to be absorbed with his own pain, and he became sensitive to the needs of others. Joseph understood, if I'm going to overcome disappointment, I got to get my focus off me, and I've got to get it on other people. So when he saw the situation of the cupbearer and the baker, he took his mind off of himself and he put it on their needs. He protected his relationship with God, and he protected his relationships with people. We can learn a lot from the life of Joseph. See, life is filled with disappointments. That's why we have to learn to overcome those disappointments. Why or how? By helping to meet the needs of others. There it is. You want to overcome the disappointments in your own life? Then set out to meet the needs of other people. And watch how your disappointments fade away. They said to Joseph that they didn't understand their dreams, and they told the dreams to Joseph. And he told the cupbearer the dream meant that in 3 days he would be restored to his position as the cupbearer. So when he's restored, remember him to the king. Remember him to the Pharaoh. Okay? Remember him to the chief jailer. The baker said, wow, this is pretty good. Let me tell my dream to Joseph. Joseph interpreted the baker's dream. And he said, basically, in 3 days, you're going to be hanged. Whoa. In 3 days, both interpretations came true. The cupbearer was freed. The baker was hanged. But the cupbearer didn't remember Joseph. And he forgot to report to Pharaoh how he helped him. Another disappointment. Guess what? 2 years later now, Pharaoh had a dream. He dreamed of 7 fat and healthy cows, and they were grazing in the grass. And then 7 skinny, ugly cows came out of the Nile River and ate the 7 healthy cows. Wow. And then he dreamed another dream. 7 healthy stalks of grain were growing, and 7 stalks, thin and scorched, ate up the healthy stalks of grain. And you know what this teaches us? Don't eat shadis before you go to bed. That's what it teaches. Not if you don't want to have those kind of dreams. So Pharaoh, he was troubled by these dreams. And he called all of his magicians and all of his wise men to interpret the dreams. They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't interpret the dreams. Then suddenly, the cupbearer, he had an aha moment. And he remembered Joseph. And he said to the Pharaoh how Joseph had interpreted his dream. And how he interpreted, the baker's dream. And both interpretations, they were right on. They came true. So you know what Pharaoh did? He sent for Joseph. And you won't believe what happens next. You won't believe it. See, the beautiful thing, Joseph's in these various situations, God is working, but Joseph probably doesn't see God working. Just like the circumstances we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in these precarious situations, right, Kitty? Know what I'm talking about? Just checking in. And sometimes we're consumed or concerned with the situation, and we're not super sensitive to the hidden hand of God that's working in our lives. Sometimes I look at life like a big chess game, but God's the one that's moving the pieces. You know? God's making things happen behind the scenes. And what we have to do is go with the flow. That's all. How do you go with the flow? Here it is. Stay faithful to God. That's all. Sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. That's okay. Stay faithful to God. Let God make things happen. Let God move the king. Let him move the pawn. Let him move the knight. Let him move the castle. And you just trust God that your life is in his hand. That's all we can do half the time. Maybe most of the time. I don't know. Maybe all the time. And that's what Joseph's doing. Joseph's just like trusting God. That's all he can do. What else can he do? He's in jail. He has no authority to command his freedom. He can only be faithful where he is. And he's doing the best he can to be faithful at where he is in this particular time in his life. It seems like if we can be faithful where we are, God's the one that will change where we are. God will make the moves. God will open doors. God will bring us along. So what's happened so far with Joseph? Number one, let's look at it like this. Joseph was not jailed. He was transplanted. He was transplanted from Potiphar's house to the royal dungeon. Why? Here it comes. This is why. So he could continue to bloom. So God could still work in his life and prepare him for something really big. It's going to be a really big show. And God's preparing him. And it took going from Potiphar's house to the dungeon as part of that preparation. And you know, Joseph is beautifully learning his lessons. Remember when we found Joseph in the beginning? He's a little punk, flaunting his dreams to his brothers and his mother and father, and wearing that coat, I'm the favorite one, and he was insensitive to the feelings of other people. And now he's coming along, and where do we find him? Sensitive to the cupbearer, sensitive to the baker. He's learning to trust God. He's being elevated. God is blessing him. So it was more like a transplant. Number two, let's take a look at the officials, the cupbearer and the baker. They weren't arrested. God brought them into Joseph's life. Why? Because God was going to use them in the life of Joseph. Because what happened? Joseph became sensitive to the needs of the officials. See, he wasn't like that with his family. Oh, no. He was like insensitive in the beginning when he was 17 years old. Insensitive to the feelings of his brothers and mother and father. But now it's years later. We don't know how many, but it's a few. And now he's becoming sensitive to people. He's overcoming disappointment by meeting the needs of others. And he's trusting God. And God is blessing him. Think about this. Even though he's not in the greatest situation, God is still blessing him. You know, say it's like having a job you don't like, but you get a raise. It's not too bad. You know, better than having a job you don't like and being demoted. So maybe Joseph's in a place he doesn't like, but he's getting promoted all the time. He's getting promoted to higher levels of authority, and now he's becoming well known in the kingdom as an interpreter of dreams. And it got all the way. See, Joseph's dream interpretations went viral. If he was around today, we'd say they went viral. And it went all the way to the Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's like, I got to talk to this kid. Go get him. But see all this, think of this. Look at the steps that it took to get Joseph to be brought into the Pharaoh's presence. They were harsh steps. Betrayed by his family, lied about by Potiphar's wife, tried to assassinate his character, thrown into the dungeon, forgotten by the people that he helped. Harsh steps. But you know where we're going to find Joseph tomorrow? Hanging out with the Pharaoh. Oh yeah. We're going to see God is beginning now to really ramp up Joseph's promotion. Joseph also learned to set aside his own pain to help with someone else's. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty good lesson in life. What do you do when you have heart pain? Probably the best thing to do is not go buy a bottle of, I don't know, what's even out there? Wild turkey? I don't know what's... No, you know what the best thing to do is, probably, I would say? Find someone else who has pain and try to help them. You'll never get a hangover by helping someone else. Oh, you'll get a hangover by drinking wild turkey and rum cokes and Boone's Farm wine and all that stuff. But helping other people always has a good ending. You know that? Always has a good ending. I would say this. Here's a good action point from today. Look for an opportunity this week to bring self-healing to you by helping someone else. You know, it's the truest law, isn't it? If you want to help yourself, help another person. If you want to heal your heart, help heal the heart of someone else. And your heart will magically be healed. It will. I'm not going to say magically be healed. How about divinely be healed? Because we don't believe in magic here on New Hope Radio, but we do believe in divine intervention. We do believe in that. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to go to the next step. Today we learned how to overcome disappointment. Tomorrow is going to be another step up. How to overcome your hurtful past. I have a feeling there are many, many people that listen to New Hope Radio, and you have a hurtful past. And we all do to some degree, some more than others. But we can overcome it. God doesn't want you to live in it. You can be an overcomer regarding your hurtful past, just like you can be an overcomer regarding your disappointment. Two realities in life that we don't like. We don't like disappointment. We don't like having a hurtful past, but they're real. But we can overcome both of them. So I hope today was somewhat beneficial. Bring others into your life that you can help. Stick with God no matter what. You watch your disappointment fade away. And don't forget, join me tomorrow. Send out a text today. Tomorrow morning, New Hope Radio, 12:30. If you know someone with a hurtful past, I know we have folks that are incarcerated and they listen to us. And perhaps they're suffering from a hurtful past. Tomorrow's a good day. Get to the radio. Tomorrow's a good day to listen because we're gonna set some people free tomorrow. God doesn't want you stuck in a hurtful past. He wants to set you free. So make sure you like and share this program today. I want to remind you, you can stream our service tonight. Man, we got a good one. I think our service tonight is going to clear up a lot of issues about Jesus, the parables that he spoke, but especially the miracles that he did. And there are folks today that make the mistake of trying to claim miracles today based on what Jesus did 2,000 years ago. We're going to learn tonight in our Bible survey of the New Testament why Jesus spoke in parables, and we're also going to see why people were able to perform miracles in the Old Testament, in the Gospels, in the book of Acts. Why? Why did God give people the authority, the power to perform miracles? There's a reason. See, there's a reason for everything God does. So tonight's going to be a good topic. You can stream our services, newhopecc.tv. You can stream it on Facebook or YouTube. We're there on both channels. That's okay. You can come to church, Route 6 in Swansea, Massachusetts, New Hope Christian Church. And 6:15, we begin with just a nice time of prayer. It's awesome. Then at 7 o'clock, we begin with worship. And then about, I don't know, when the worship's done, 7:20, 7:25, 7:30, whatever. Jump right into it. Why did Jesus speak in parables? And why did Jesus perform miracles? We'll have those notes online for you. If they're not already, they'll be there in a little while. And you can follow along as well. So we know we love being here. We love having you guys chime in. I'm going to try something new. If you have a Bible question, how about this? If you have a Bible question, write it into Facebook, and I'll answer it on the next program. The reason I answer it on the next program is because I won't see it until the program's over. So, because I just have a little tiny monitor over here and I can't read everything on it. Not that I don't know the answer, but I probably might not anyway. But if you have a Bible question, type it in, I'll peruse it, and I'll have an answer for the next program. I think that'll give us some nice little interaction. Okay, so feel free, whatever they are. End times, social issues, current events. You know, I'm not a prophetic major by any means. I'm more like a pathetic major than a prophetic major, but that's okay. So feel free to type in a question, and Aaron will make sure I get it, because he's the host with the most, and he's the greeter and the meter on Facebook. So he'll make sure that I get the question, and we'll do the best we can to research it and get that answer. And you know what else we're doing if you live in the area, if you want to help us out? We're collecting backpacks for the children in the area, getting them ready for school, backpacks with school supplies. So if you live in the area and you'd like to purchase a nice kid's backpack and throw some school supplies in there, pads and pens and erasers and whatever you feel, whatever's good, and drop it off here at New Hope, that'd be awesome. That'd be beautiful. We want to bless as many kids as we can. We want to show them the love of God. Say, hey man, you're not forgotten. A lot of families struggle financially today, and all that stuff is expensive. We know it is. We didn't have backpacks when I was a kid. Just carried your books. Now they got backpacks. That's pretty cool. So we want to get them some really nice ones. So if you want to do that and drop them off two Sundays, one Sunday from this week, which is what? I don't know. Two weeks from now, 2 Sundays from now, is the last day to collect those backpacks, whatever that date is. So help us out if you can. Love to give as many out as we can this year, okay? That's it. That's it for today. Love you guys. Thank you for coming along, and I'll see you tomorrow for more of New Hope Radio.